Okay, so for the volume of a pyramid, we just saw that video, and if you're watching this, there's a video that's in the pyramid folder in your Schoology page, and you can watch it and see how the formula was developed visually. But in general, it tells us this. We know the volume of any prism is the base area. We use a capital B times the height of the prism. We use an H. But we said that a pyramid is 1/3 that size. So we multiply by 1/3. Multiplying by 1/3 is tricky because the decimal expansion of 1/3 is, does anybody know? If I want to convert 1/3 into a decimal, 1 divide 3, look what it is. It's a repeating decimal, 0.3 repeating. And it's not so easy to write that. So another equivalent is dividing by 3. And that's what we're going to be doing on our calculator. We're going to, instead of multiplying by 1/3, we're going to divide by 3. Okay? So let's get into this. So we're going to take the base area, and it's very important that we're aware, okay, what kind of prism do we have? Do we have a rectangular prism where the base is a rectangle or a square? Or do we have a triangular prism where the base is a triangle? Because it's going to be one or the other. Because the formulas we're going to use are going to be a little bit different based on that. Because one's a rectangle, one's a triangle. Okay? All right. So let's start off with a rectangular prism, pyramid rather. So it has a rectangular base. Okay? So let's take a quick look. We have a triangular base or a rectangular base. It's a little harder to shade this in. I'm going to try to shade this in. But you're always going to be looking at the bottom to figure out what kind of a pyramid we have, triangular or rectangular. Okay. So they give us a formula here, right, for rectangular pyramids. Let's take a look at this example, everybody. Okay. So we have the base is a rectangle. So we have to figure out the area of a rectangle. And so that's going to be length times width. So we have a length, a width, and a height. Okay. So what I would do is to find the volume, you do length times width times height. That's going to be just like we did on Friday when we were finding prisms. Except we're going to, in the end, we're going to divide by 3. Okay? So this is for a rectangular prism, and this is going to be the calculator-friendly formula, or rectangular pyramid. Rectangular, write this down, pyramid. And this is going to help you find volume if you have like a rinky-dink calculator like this. So if you all you need is a basic calculator like this. And the formula is the following. Your length times your width times your height, and then divided by 3. Okay, write that down. So basically, you show me a pyramid, and I'll tell you which of the formulas to use. This one, you got to divide by 3. So it's everything we did on Friday, but divide by 3. Okay, so let's use it. We have a rectangular pyramid for number 1. So let's identify the length, width, and height. Let's say this is the length, and this is the width. 6 centimeters has to be the height. Why is that so? Why is it that 6 has to be the height? What's unique about that, the location of that length 6? Take a look. Look where it's going, from where to where. It's going from this spot that we call the vertex, where all the sides meet, and it's dropping down, and it forms a right angle. That's what a height always does. Okay? So that has to be the height. The other two we can interchange, but the height, it's important that we identify it correctly. Okay, so let's write down our formula. Length times width times height, just like we did for a prism, but this time we have to divide by 3. Okay, and so let's put in our numbers. So we have 8 centimeters times 7 centimeters times 6 centimeters, then divide by 3. Okay, so in our calculators, let's all practice. Let's do that. Let's take 8, multiply it by 7, multiply it by 6, and divide by 3. Oh, sorry. Let's pause. Okay. Did you guys get 112? Okay. Now the other part that usually gives us incorrect answers. So we have the number portion, 112. What are the units though? If we're measuring in centimeters and it's a volume. We're measuring in centimeters and it's a volume. Remember we talked about that Friday? Cubed. Cubed. Yeah. If it's perimeter, those are linear. It's just centimeters, whatever inches, whatever we're measuring in. If it's area, it's in square units, square inches, square miles, square centimeters. But volume is in cubic centimeters, cubic units. Okay. So there's our answer, 112 cubic centimeters. So this is roughly the size of about 112 sugar cubes. The size that we're dealing with here is about 112 sugar cubes in size. All right, so that's our answer. Very similar to what we did Friday. All we're doing is dividing by 3. Okay, let's move on to number 2. So I'm going to help you part way, and then I want you to take it from there. So there's my base, rectangular prism again. Okay, let's identify the different dimensions. We need a length, a width, and a height. Which one shall be our length? 7 inches. Let's go with that. That's my length. Which one's the width then? 2.3. And the one that has to be the height is 10. Okay. I want you to find find the volume. Remember, it's everything we did before, length times width times height, divided by 3. Okay? Give it a try. So on my calculator, I went ahead and I multiplied, and I got this answer. How many of you got something like that? Yeah. We got to round it, though, to the nearest tenth. So 53.6 or 53.7? 0.7, yeah. This 6 in the 100th place tells us to bump up the 6 in the 7th. So you're going to get a lot of those 0.6s and 0.3 repeatings. So let's say 53.7, and we're measuring in inches, so this should be inches cubed or cubic inches. 53.7 cubic inches. Okay. I think this is bigger than a cubic inch by a bit, but about 53 of those. All right. So that's rectangular prisms. Pretty simple. Same as a rectangular, these are rectangular pyramids. Same as rectangular prisms. You just got to divide by 3. So now let's talk about triangular, the ones that have a triangular base. Let's flip this over. And remember, we have to find the area of the base. And you remember how to find the area of a triangle? It's base times height, just like we did, or length times width, just like we would do for a rectangle, except you have to take half of it. It's 1/2 the base and the height. And that's what we're going to have to do here. Okay, so just like we did here, where we came up with a general formula and then kind of worked with it, well, we're going to do that here. So let's write down the formula that's going to be calculator ready. So we call this a rectangular pyramid calculator formula. So this is triangular pyramid. And look what we're going to have to do. 1/2. Friday, how do we take care of that 1/2 on the calculator? 0.5. So 0.5. And then we have to do basically the length and the width. And then we also have to multiply that times the height of the pyramid. And how do we take care of that 1/3? Instead of multiplying by 1/3, we divide by 3. So that's how we're going to do this. You're going to do everything we did on the previous page, but then you also have to multiply by 0.5. And that only happens when you have a triangle as a base. If you have a triangle as a base, this is how we're going to handle it. Okay, guys? So let's do it. Let's see. Our base is a triangle. So let's identify, let's say this is the length, this is the width, and of course this has to be the height. So the volume is going to be 0.5 times length times width times height, and then divide that by 3. The pyramid's 1/3 the size. So let's do it. 0.5 times 8 inches. I will leave out the units. Times our width, which is 13 inches. Times the height, which is 17 inches. And then we got to divide that by 3. Oh, we're definitely going to have decimals in this one, I can tell. None of these numbers that we're multiplying by is divisible by 3. So we're definitely going to get a decimal. So on your calculator, follow along with me. Let's start with 0.5. 0.5 times 8 times 13 times 17 divided by 3. That's 294.7. Cubic inches. Okay? So try that on the next one. Okay? I want you to try this on your own on the next one. Okay, so hopefully you got something like this. And if you did put this into your calculator correctly, what did we get? 750. 750 cubic yards. Okay, so quick summary. If the base, write this down, of the pyramid is a rectangle, remember that includes squares, we're going to do what we did on the previous page. So how would we summarize what we did on the previous page? So we're going to finish this sentence. If the base of the pyramid is a rectangle, and then we'll finish the sentence. What did we do? How would we explain this? Say you're on the phone with someone and they need to know, like, mathematically what to do. You multiply what? And then what? Yes. I'm going to even make it simpler. You multiply your 3, I call them dimensions, you could call them numbers. And then the important part, and divide by 3. Sorry. And it seems like you may not have enough room for the last part. But watch, we're going to piggyback off what we just did. If the base of the pyramid is a triangle, you add 2. Also multiply by 0.5. So we could say maybe do what you did. How do I want to say this? Do what you did for the rectangular pyramid, or do what you did before and multiply by 0.5. This is kind of my thinking. Do what you did for rectangular pyramids, prisms, and also multiply by 0.5. Because that's the only confusion is when do I multiply by 0.5 or when I don't? When do I do? When it's a triangular base. Okay? All right. Any questions? All right. So the assignment is an IXL. You have to get a SMART score of 80. And if you're going to paste this into your notebook, the glue sticks are up in the front. Help yourself.